Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and you might have thought that last episode was the series finale of HuniePop, even though I clearly said that it wasn't, and I may have uploaded the best of video by now. I don't know, we'll see what my plan ends up being. But we have a special episode right now, because, well, I could introduce this as I'm having a three-way in a recording for your visual entertainment, except it's not visual, it's audio, but whatever. But I will say, ladies and gentlemen, I am wearing a bra. It is the bra of friendship, and tucked within that bra are two very special boobs. The boobs of friendship. Left breast and right breast, please introduce yourselves one at a time.
Left breast, go first, please.
I had no idea I was the left breast.
Surprise!
Of course it'd be the left breast, because Austin's a right tit.
Hello everyone, I am Europezgal08, and I am here to provide some female perspective.
I'm AustinOnSugar. I overanalyze things and have watched this series while drooling the whole time, so I am not a very good female perspective. Let's do this thing!
Yeah.
Alright, the brassiere is tucked and comfy. Go.
Incidentally, how did you transplant your faces onto my nipples? Because I kind of need those to make fruit salad later.
So that's what men use their nipples for.
Don't worry, they grow back. And they grow back longer. Scientifically proven, they're like nails.
Yeah. And you can get special male nipple files, but they're, like, they keep them inside those boxes that make it look like it's engine oil, but it's actually nipple razors. We could make little, like, some people get little traffic cone tattoos and stuff. And that's where Lady Gaga got the idea for those Madonna traffic cone bra from. We have spent literally an hour getting off topic before we even started recording, so... Okay, overanalyzing HuniePop.
I think that's very fitting. Madonna and HuniePop go together like bread and butter. And boobs. And other things.
Okay, well, Austin, you said you had stuff, so... throw stuff at me and see if it sticks. Lactate into the video, if you will.
Look, I may be the cow, but that is fine. Okay, so... oh, what am I even supposed to say to start this off? HuniePop is a dating sim game combined with a Bejeweled. Only not really. What is the proper name for that? Match 3 or something like that? I just always call them Bejeweled clones.
And it's not even a traditional match 3 either, because usually it's swapping adjacent tokens, whereas this is anywhere vertically or horizontally. So, actually... Oh, hang on. I just had a relevant thought.
Yeah, it took me a while to actually realize that, because I was playing Pokemon Shuffle beforehand. Go on, sorry.
Right, so you know how I'm making flappy noises, I'm getting excited here, because I just realised a thing, as is typical of these deep analysis videos, but, right, you know how typical match 3 things, you can only move a token one space adjacent or whatever. Mm-hmm. Whereas in HuniePop, you can pick up a token and move it anywhere across the board, horizontally or vertically. Like a queen moves in chess. Boom!
Oh.
Or a rook, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
You can't go diagonally.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the adaption process is one space in either up, down, left, right, and this is any number of spaces up, down, left, right. How long is the board in HuniePop?
It's 8x7.
Oh, okay. Well, close enough to chess, so there we go.
Just in case you needed further proof, next time you're playing chess, just pick up the queen and move it into a row with, like, 3 other queens, and then they'll all poof together, then you'll have a power queen, and that will get some sort of score multiplier. That's not how chess works. It's how chess works, though, if this game is to be believed.
Oh, but of course. Pop those honeys. Anyway. Alright, so... the only reason I jokingly said that there'd be a lot to talk about is because when you said there wouldn't be much to talk about, the first thing my mind went to was, wait, there's, like, so much potential with, like, the commentary this game could ideally provide on, like, modern views of sexism and women as goals or whatever, because obviously after you've had sex with a girl, you basically drop her unless you need extra cash. So... there's kind of a lot that can be implied from something like that. And I was thinking about that for a while, and the more I'm trying to find reasons to call this game sexist, because that's just what everyone does these days, the more I'm seeing this game as something that is quite the opposite, and kind of exemplifies everything that isn't sexist about society, but everyone says is anyway. And I find that really interesting. And of course, the number one thing about that is that you can play as a girl. And nothing really changes.
Except you don't get to see semen in the the resulting pictures, but that's only if you have the uncensored patch, which the game devs literally went onto the Steam community and told you how to patch. Literally, they have a public thread saying, this is how you patch the game so it's the uncensored version, because we can't sell the uncensored version on Steam, so just patch it like this. And it's literally just open a .txt file, close the txt file, rename it to something like patch game uncensored .game or something, and then the game just checks if that file exists or not, and if it is, then uncensored. It really is that simple. They knew what they were doing. This game was literally made by teenage boys.
Look, I find that interesting at the very least, because there's a certain amount of freedom that comes with that kind of thing, but they also made it around the system. That's ingenious. I like that. I want to see more game developers do that. Well, we couldn't make these characters nude because we knew we'd get bad reviews for that, so here's the patch where everyone's naked as an alternate skin. And you see a lot of alternate skin. Anyway.
I see what you did there. I see a lot of what you did there.
Yes. Yeah, well,
Yum.
of course.
But you could actually overthink it, which is kind of the point here, and work that back into the social commentary of, okay, this shit is taboo, and so we have to kind of jump through the hoops because Steam. But here's the easy way around it so you get the full experience in every sense of the word.
The steamy experience instead of the Steam experience, yes.
I'm
proud of that one.
You should be. Because the last time I tried to make a joke of that caliber was actually earlier today. This is a totally not relevant tangent, but hear me out. So, we have a 3D modeling class. We had to make something that looks futuristic yet recycled. One of my friends was trying to make like a bus stop out of an old shower or something. And well, he had a pole and he wanted to turn it into the neck of a shower. And he referred to what he wanted to add and change and stuff. I said, well, if you must turn it into a shower, make it come naturally. Don't force it. And he then told me that it took a lot of self-restraint for him not to punch me, and I said that was the right thing to do, and then left. It's kind of relevant because one of the photos that Venus sends is of her masturbating using the shower head.
Yes, I've seen that. No, I don't surf for these pictures on a regular basis. Why do you ask?
Did I remember to censor the boobs in that photo?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, I got worried for a second there because I was too busy focusing on covering the already covered water splash in the landing strip, as it were.
So, one of the things that stood out to me is that, you know how the biggest thing you get from something like the Anita Sarkeesian form of extreme feminism nowadays is this calling out of games, objectifying women and making women as objects to be obtained rather than people who are I don't know what the word is properly for it, but I know there's philosophies that either see people as means to an end or people as ends in and of themselves, whatever the phrase is for.
In their own ovens.
They are the ends, not the means. And to a certain extent, you think of people as the ends and not something you're just using to get something else. And obviously, objectification is the idea that people, or I guess the extreme feminists of today would have you believe, the women of this world are, to the men, simply a means to an end, or what have you. And yeah, you can see that in the game quite a bit. And I remember there was a particular episode your commentary started turning into, yeah, but if I do this, then you're not going to give me as much. And it was just something about your phrasing. This was an early episode too, was very much thinking of the girl as a game mechanic or a game element rather than a person, which is kind of not the goal for a decent dating sim, one would like to believe. But that got me thinking about how this game is set up and how dating sims in general are set up. No one talks like you talk in this game, so I don't think anyone would be fooled into believing these are actual women you're talking to, and therefore no one would be fooled into believing this is how you treat actual women. I would like to believe. There are some dumb people out there. But, yeah, just something about the idea of the way that conversations work, the way that the game is obviously set up, that your goal is to obtain the girl's panties at the end, basically, by having sex with them, which requires you to statistically reach a certain point. This all comes across as very sexist if you're to believe that these are emulating real people that you're supposed to be manipulating into obtaining that status or whatever. But that's not really what I get out of the game. I don't think at the very least it's trying to go down that road. Thoughts?
There's one thought that I have recurring with this whole thing that's kind of an interesting way of thinking about it. If you do suspend your disbelief and invest in these characters and you know, take it with a grain of salt and then believe that they are real people, then to an extent the game actually gives you the choice as to whether to be sexist or not, because, and yes, you have to lie through your back teeth in some instances about how you think about a particular character in order to get on their good side. But there's a Steam achievement for sleeping with 3 girls without actually speaking to any of them.
Yes.
And so you could actually choose to view the girls as objects and then just try to fuck like a Catholic rabbit. Or you could talk to them on a regular basis and get to know them. And in that case, it's kind of a more legitimate relationship, but with this option of variety. And of course, it's not an accurate representation of the real world, and it's not intended to be. Although, I think the easiest way of putting the whole sexism thing to bed, as it were, Laura, does this game offend you?
No.
There you go, case closed.
Was there a need for a theme song?
Yes.
Achievement unlocked. There we go. See, here's the problem. And this is going to be my commentary on the way we look at society today. I feel like a lot of people get offended by things before they think about the implications of them getting offended by it, or whatever the case may be. And I don't think there's anything, personally, I don't find anything wrong with objectifying images of people, but this goes both ways. I don't think Kratos is any more sexist of a character than Bayonetta. I don't find Bayonetta sexist, and if you do find her sexist, then you better as hell find Kratos sexist, or else you're not being equally feminist, equalist, whatever the proper term is these days.
Of course, then the extremists will say, oh, but then you're giving equal weight to both sides. That's sexist somehow. Because that's how the internet thinks.
Well, actually, what most people would say, or what Sarkeesianists would say to that, is that there is a long-standing cultural implication that women are objects and men aren't. But I don't know any real proof that that is still a long-standing concept that preserves our society today. Even if we do revere and find interest in older stories that came from a sexist time, I do not find that to pervade so ingrained within our minds today that we can't see something else out of it, if that makes any sense.
Case in point that demonstrates that, if I may.
Go on.
That there's a program, or at least there was back like over the summer when I was at home, that was like, oh, best of TV from the 70s or something like it was kind of people from now react to TV from the 70s, and that's kind of not a good way of putting it, but relatively modern people seeing stuff from the 70s and before. And there are people of the time watching it and finding it all funny and hilarious and stuff, and then there's people closer to our generation watching this going, what the fuck is this sexist shit? Like, there's one, I do not remember the context, but I remember one of my parents explaining it to me, and obviously they don't find it funny anymore because the society's moved on. But there was something about, I don't know, like it was a sitcom of a lonely housewife who declared that she wanted to be raped. And like, that is not an acceptable thing to joke about. No one in this society would find that an acceptable thing to joke about. But at the time
people have rape fantasies, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
But like the idea is, you know, people of now aren't so stupid as to believe that, oh, right, yeah, the village elder said that women are objects, therefore, you know, people don't think like that anymore.
Yeah. I can totally understand that. One of my favorite things to go back to is the movie It's a Wonderful Life. There's a scene in that where the guy is begging Clarence, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Where is my wife? You don't want to know, Bob, or Jim, or whatever his name is. Tell me where my wife is. What happened to her? She's an old maid. Ta-da! Because clearly the worst thing that could ever happen to a woman in the world is not getting hitched with a man. I mean, that's funny to me now, looking back, that was something that could really be like the real zinger at the end of the movie. Is, what? My wife never got married? The poor soul! The poor darling! And I mean, yeah, we have moved on from that now. I don't know anyone who would even understand why that would be a bad thing now. So I'm of the firm belief that a lot of the overreactions, as it were, to a lot of sexist statements and the like is kind of superficial in today's society and not really worth much. And not to entirely blow movements out of the water, because I think it obviously still has a place, but I don't think it has quite the same place that it did, basically. Anyway, so with a game like this, I find it very interesting for people to look at this game and say, the player has the opportunity to objectify the women as game mechanics. Therefore, this promotes objectification of women. And I've been very curious to hear what a lot of the more extremist people of today have to say about a game like this, because that'd be very interesting. So if anyone watching wants to tell me why I'm completely wrong and this game is incredibly sexist, I want to hear that.
Go right ahead, tweet at AustinOnSugar.
Please. Fill my P.O. box if I had one.
I thought that was going to end very differently. Fill my pee-hole with your feminism. But I was going to say that there is kind of a, for want of a better word, a Kratos principle here as well, because, well, I don't know, the idea that if the game is sexist, then it can't not be a two-headed eagle, I don't know, meow. If it's sexist, then it's sexist to both binary genders, or however the player character identifies. The point is, the women are objectified, but the player character is also objectified in a sense of, quote-unquote, objectifying the girls, and then displaying it to the player in the form of, this is what is acceptable to like, you must like this is a thing that you must find tantalizing. Of course, that's not the intent of the game developers at all. I mean, they created the game in order to titillate, but, not to make any serious social commentary. And so...
And it's very large titillation, I must say. Very, very large titillation. Sorry, go on.
Celeste reminisces quietly. But what can I say? Celeste has the best chest under that vest. But yeah, if it's sexist against women because boobs, it's also sexist against men for saying, you must become this horny animal at the sight of even slightly more flesh than you were expecting. Oh my god, is that a shoulder? Doing.
The fact that Q and Aphrodite could possibly give you as hard of a time as they do for being such a, this is the specimen that has screwed every girl in this town. Are you kidding me? That kind of attitude, and Q's attitude at the very beginning of the game, in the introductory section, as it were, suggests that it is not the place of the good-natured person to earn that ravaging animal type thing. So yes, there is a lot of sexism on both ends, but that's kind of what makes the game so fun, is that it goes balls to the walls, or what, chesticles to the vesticles, I don't know, and finds a way to force everyone in the game into an objectified position to get a really interesting blend of gameplay and story-driven content, if you want to call it a story, which I kind of do because it's funnier that way.
And apparently, the original version of the game was originally going to be a lot more story-heavy in whatever capacity, but then they realized just how hammy the dialogue was, and they're just like, yeah, we're just going to leave it as this. But an interesting point about Q and Venus's attitude to the player, certainly from the outset, and to an extent, for instance, I got one of the questions wrong with Aiko in one episode recently, where she was asking about how long was your previous relationship, and I picked the shortest option because I didn't know what she wanted to hear, and her only response was, pathetic. And so there's this pervading idea of, oh, well, men must be these rabid, savage beasts who fuck every hole they see, apart from butts, because butts are gay. Unless it's a woman butt. But then...
No, those are gay too, they just don't tell you that.
I have an entirely separate conundrum about, why would you do anal with a woman? How would you... What's attractive about that versus doing it with a guy in the same hole? But that's totally not relevant. There's this idea of, the player is mock-worthy unless they do all this sex. But by the other side of that same coin, and Austin, I must say, this is kind of spoiler territory in the same vein as the green cube of anodyne. But as will have been seen in the series finale, the gameplay finale anyway, Q reveals at the end, she has little bits of dialogue for every pair of underwear that you give her, and her thing for Audrey reveals that actually, prior to the events of this game, Audrey was a virgin. And that's somehow an explanation for her bitchy personality, like, oh, she never gets laid, therefore she's a mega bitch. Although, the official bio for her for HunieCam Studio, the next game in the series, says that because she found out that the player character of HuniePop was cheating on her with 11 other girls, she's now gone on to become a fully fledged man-hater, and that's why she does sex shows on the internet for some reason. Seems legit, seems liturgish.
I like this game's attempt at story a lot. This is cool. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Actually, that reminds me. I mentioned this, in this conversation earlier, but before we started recording, I think if they want to be, if they kind of want to further make it really clear it's either not sexist or sexist to both, make a male HuniePop and then hire me as a voice actor because I make orgasm noises. I may have already plugged this, but please, I need work. I'm like halfway through my second year of university, and help me, please, HuniePop. But yeah,
What would you call a game that's the male equivalent? Because obviously honey is a...
Honeycock.
Honeycock. Oh my god. Oh my god. Tess, we need to do this. We just need to hack the game, like provide a mod, and then sell the mod, or the patent of the mod, or however our artwork works to the creators, and then they can properly market the patch. Ooh boy, I want to do this.
And there was someone on Tumblr, and and a story there was someone on Tumblr. No, there was someone who did a bunch of rough sketches of, they took about 3 or 4 of the HuniePop characters and made Rule 63 of them. Is it the
Yes.
gender flip version?
Yes.
Yeah.
They did a male version of Q, which they then did like digitally colorized and shit, and the development team actually retweeted it. Like, I don't know if they intend to make a male version at the moment, but I hope they do. But that was a really good design for a male version of Q, and they did a male version of Audrey as well, and they named him Austin, and that's kind of why it stuck in my mind. But yeah, like,
Wait, of Audrey?
yeah,
Oh.
just because they both begin with AU.
And they're both redheads, so there we go.
Bearing in mind, like not calling into anyone's sexuality here whatsoever. Like, if they made a male version of HuniePop, then legit, I would play through it for some sort of semblance of balance. So if someone wants to see boobs, they can watch my HuniePop LP. If they want to see penis, then, well, they probably won't see it under all the potatoes, but they can watch my Honeycock LP instead. I'd want to have that kind of balance, because I know, if I may quote a post from Tumblr that I saw earlier today: "Mom, Dad, I'm bilingual, hasta luego, bitches."
Oh my god, this is so cute. Or cute, whatever. That is an adorable design for a, I don't know, what is Q's proper occupation besides Star Trek reference? And she's not a boob fairy. What is she?
Love fairy.
A love fairy. This is an adorable design for a male love fairy.
I want it to be a thing.
I am already seeing a thong, so just change one letter. No, that's hot. I want to play this game now. We need to make this game a thing, or they need to make this game a thing. The point is that this game is not sexist, and I love it so much. Anyway.
I will say though, like, props to the team for having this diverse cast of characters that actually, if you think about it, all cover various different, for want of a better word, fetishes.
Yeah.
I was going to get onto that.
I mean, yeah, we haven't let you talk for the entire 25 minutes so far, but...
Speak! Vag perspective, speak, please!
Vag perspective. Thanks, Austin.
Anytime! I'm not sexist, I just know the differences between sexes, and recognize them openly. Go on.
Yeah. I was going to say that there's this rough overview of, for instance, you've got girls of various ethnicities, even though Aiko really does not look Japanese, but like, if I were to look at her, I wouldn't be able to tell her nationality, but then again, you could say that for all of them, because officially, Audrey's French, and Lola's British, and Nikki's Australian, and you cannot tell this! It's all there in the manual if you look it up. Well, to quote TV tropes. But yeah, the fact that, you've got girls of this origin and that origin, there's alien girl with horns and a load of tentacle porn photos. There's Momo, because that's clearly how you appease the furry fandom. And
I wouldn't even say furries. Nakos in themselves are kind of an interesting middle ground, and they're absolutely adorable for the record. Go on!
Yes.
No one knows what I'm into.
If they were to do a male HuniePop, I'd like to think that they'd have the same diversity, but a different range, so that they'd have a load of other... I'd almost want to say, yes, have a fat guy for the chubby chasers. Like, I'm not fat-shaming, I'm just thinking... Is that a direction that they take it?
It's technically a fetish. I'd be interested in seeing that gone in that direction. That'd be cool. Actually, that was something that kind of hit me, is that all of the girls just kind of look like general anime girls in one way or another. So a lot of the voices don't really fit to me. But I'd love to see that from the other side of the spectrum as well, where we get to see all these niches filled in the guy department as well. But again, it's like, I don't like whatever the male equivalent of the Nikki, the male nerd, so to speak, could be like a cosplayer or something, and all of his outfits are like, I don't know, him dressing as Goku or something like that. I would love to see something like that, because there's people who love to see that and would love to get into something like that. I love that kind of niche development stuff. So
So
sorry,
what helps with this
go on.
is with some of the characters they're introducing in HunieCam Studio, which is the next game in the line, and it does have a different art style, but they're having a lot of characters, if not all of them, I don't know, returning from HuniePop, plus a few extras. We've got Lillian, the goth girl. We've got Sarah, or Suki, the, quote, insufferable weeaboo. I think there are a couple of others that they've, like, there's one insanely saccharine-flavored girl called Candy, as I recall, but she was in the pre-alpha trailer, and we've not heard about her since, but there are a couple of other ones as well. But anyway, we were going to get onto the vagina perspective featuring Oprah Winfrey, were we not?
Oh, yes, go.
Oh!
Speak, Oprah.
I'm sorry, but Oprah couldn't make it today, so you have me instead. Sorry to disappoint you. Anyway. Hi. Basically, what I have to say is that I kind of like the variety of personalities that there are in the game. Like, there's the super fitness freak person, and there's the gamer girl, and then there's the
mega bitch?
Yeah, that's the one! Like, there's these varying personalities, so, like, everyone that plays this game will at least like someone? So I do hope that if there is a guy version of HuniePop, then those, like, the variety of personality would still be there, so there's sort of, like, something for everyone, so to speak.
I was right to bring up the Oprah thing then, because you get a waifu and you get a waifu and everybody gets a waifu. But yeah, I do like the variety of personality, because like even then, you know, you've got the two shy characters. You've got Nikki and Belly, who are two very different types of shy, because you've got Nikki, who's reclusive and sort of doesn't really like other people. You know, she's more of a, I'd say shut in, but has connotations. Whereas there's Belly, who's just sort of quiet and keeps to herself, but doesn't dislike being around people as much. So there's that variety as well, and I approve of their... Carry on.
Yes. What was I going to say? I know I was going to say something like about like the tokens and stuff in the game. Like, it's good that I don't think, off the top of my head, there are two girls that have the exact same, like, most thing and least thing.
Well, I have a paper notes here I could look up for you.
Yeah, do tell me if there is like a girl, if there's two girls that have the exact same most thing and least thing.
I don't believe so, but then again, I feel like Venus might be a snow clone of someone, I don't remember. No, carry on.
But yeah, that's sort of like a varying personality thing as well. Like, there's no two girls that have the same most thing and least thing, so that keeps the game interesting.
Another thing that kind of goes off of that is that while a lot of the girls do have diverse personality quirks that will appeal to certain circles, I don't see many, if any of them, as being very one note or stereotypical, which is a really cool thing. And
it's partly helped by when they're first introduced, you see them interacting with at least two of the other girls, so you can actually get a feel for how they fit in, how they code switch, how they react to different people.
That's really cool. And seeing how they react to one person compared to another creates some really interesting dichotomies, like Nikki and Audrey apparently being friends or something equivalent. It's just kind of weird.
One of my favourites that demonstrates this as well is Kiana and Audrey versus Kiana and Tiffany. Like, so very different, and then the way Kiana interacts with the player is different again.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like that compromises their character, or, the characters written for the plot rather than plot written for the characters, or however that's supposed to be said. But at the same time, it says a lot about a girl, even just what tokens are strong or weak for them. And I really like that, too.
And I like how, you can actually, their token types can be explained as, what they're looking for. Kiana, for instance, according to my notes, her most thing is talent because, she's a gym person, so she appreciates that sort of physical endurance talent. And she's not so much into romance because she has what Q calls baby mama drama. Because she'd want a stable relationship, but she wouldn't want romance if it wasn't going to last. Tiffany, for instance, flirtation's her most thing because, I don't know, she's university romance, and sex is her least thing because Jessie, her mother, is a sex worker, and also she has some sort of innocence to preserve anyway. And there's some actually rather interesting ones. There's a whole thing on TV Tropes that explains a fair few of them. Q, for instance, I found to be an interesting one, because you'd expect her most thing to be sex, but it's not, it's flirtation, and her least thing is talent, because she's seen the player at their quote-unquote worst at the start of the game, and doesn't believe they have any talent in the first place, but she wants to experience flirtation on their part, because that's what she's been teaching the player to do.
Mm-hmm. I love headcanons like this, by the way. This is the really cool stuff to me.
I mean, I've got one headcanon theory that's going to blow this thing wide open when we get to that point, but yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that. The 12 girls represent the 5 stages of grief with 7 bits of change.
Oh, this is the thing? This is the thing?
No. This is just me being facetious.
You got my hopes up, Tess! How could you? How could you? I'm leaving!
Well, I know you could say that each date signifies... No. Just no. No.
That was just yours. Either that or Tiffany's just depression. Go on.
I was going to say something, but I've completely forgotten what it was. Thanks, Tess.
Sorry.
Thanks, Obama.
You're welcome. There we go. It was not my intention, but I am grateful to take your thanks. Move along, totally American citizen. Like, I'm not good with Obama. I'm sorry. I'm still working on it. I can't be black. I wish I could.
Well, all right then.
I can. Go on.
Moving on. If I was a girl in HuniePop, my most thing would be talent, and my least would be flirtation. As you were.
Blow our minds, Tess.
Oh, right. You were expecting that. Well, first of all, I was going to say, completely not related to that, is kind of fascinating and adorable if you watch back either the whole series as a whole, as opposed to the whole series in little bits. You know what I mean? Or the best of montage, which is going to go up either before or after this. I don't fucking know. But it's kind of adorable how you can see over the course of the game I get progressively more desensitized to the boobs. Like within the first 10 episodes, it's a boob, what the fuck are you wearing? Then at the end I'm just like, oh well, that's an outfit, okay.
That applies to everyone except Celeste.
Boobs.
Considering you didn't see boobs until episode 12, how do I know this? Because I was there.
You were there. I still, like, your reaction was so noteworthy that it became the first line of the video description. My eyes! But yes.
Yes, and you just commented on how I have that apparatus. What?
What indeed. Okay, so this is a theory that I saw on TV Tropes. So, like, I don't know, they worded it convincingly, and I've slept since the last time I saw it, which was quite some time ago. Incidentally, by the way, this series, how long has it been going for now? 3 months, 4 months, what?
A while.
Like, obviously, the first part was in April, but I didn't know that was going to be part... That was part 0, and then it started proper in summer, and then...
June.
Fucking June, and it's... By the time this goes up, it'll be November, I think. But yes, this theory on TV Tropes says that I didn't like this at first, but it makes a disturbing amount of sense. The game is told from the perspective of someone who has some sort of mental condition. I mean, obviously, that's such a blanket theory for so many games. But this idea that Q is either a figment of their imagination trying to take back control of their sex life because they're so bleh,
or some kind of schizophrenic apparition. Perhaps,
or just their Briar, that they've elevated to the status of a love fairy.
Of course.
Like, the way this is characterized is the way that the player compartmentalizes what each girl looks for in terms of most thing and least thing, and how each date is just this game of strategy, and how sex isn't a means of pleasure, it's just, there's a girl, there's a date grid, get to work, rather than it being an experience. Like, they're not just enjoying themselves being pleasured, they're actually just... It's just a puzzle to be solved. It's just basically, that's how Professor Layton views sex, and that's why he has no children of his own.
It's interesting you bring that up. That was something that was kind of bothering me, is like sex, like dates, and the way that the game is portrayed as you always wanting to give the right answers. Dates, I can totally see being these insane strategic messes of, don't want to say the wrong thing here, don't want to move the wrong thing here, don't want to put this forward too much. But by the time you get to the sex minigames, it's just... I was about to say pound that shit. That's not exactly the right terminology to use in this case, but it is that kind of, you just want to go as fast as possible and you get through it as fast as possible because otherwise they're going to wane, and then, there's no time to just enjoy it or have it be some kind of symbol of union. It's just another mission to accomplish, which is very weird. And that also means that the player character never really gets any enjoyment out of it, as opposed to the women who seem to enjoy it quite a bit.
And I was going to say as well, it kind of this viewing society as a game or a simulation or whatever, as opposed to reality. And that's kind of how, when answering questions, the player character comes up with 3 possible answers and tries to determine which one the girl would most like to hear, and then perceives that as, okay, I gave her the answer that she wouldn't most like to hear, but she wouldn't necessarily object to, but too bad it's not good enough, therefore I shall be penalised. That sort of thing.
Interesting.
But I do like the idea, though. I don't remember if I mentioned this on recording or not, but the notion of a broken heart match on a date. Just the symbolism of what it actually would translate to in the real world. And I seem to recall having this mental image of, sitting at a table in a restaurant with Nikki, and then accidentally making one minor broken heart match, which then translates to sitting at a restaurant table, put down menu, burp, wait, shit, and then just throwing a load of plushies and shoes at her. Love me, it was just a burp!
Or in your case, just randomly singing in Croatian just causes a broken heart match.
Oh yeah, the girls don't like it when I sing about tiny boats in Croatian, and yes, that is a song about penis envy. Good old Daniela Martinovic.
Speaking of penis...
You have my attention, go right ahead.
Does Venus comment on that at all?
I think the only one who actually comments on it is Jessie. And even then, they have each character has an assortment of lines they could say before sex, because there's one potential line that Momo has that I was going to censor the fuck out of if she said it, and she said it in Lukagen's LP, so you can go and watch that if you want to see it. But as far as I'm aware, in my experience, the only one who actually comments... Oh wait, no, hang on. I think Audrey establishes that... Well, if you're playing as a male character, Audrey establishes that the player character isn't too badly penised.
Oh, damn it, it would have been great if it was, absurdly small and he won them over anyway.
Power to the little guy!
That's okay. It's anime-inspired, therefore clearly everyone is incredibly well-endowed, which is why the smallest breast size is well, besides Tiffany, I think, is like a large C, right?
Well, Tiffany's a C, Audrey's a B.
Yeah.
I think Q might be a B as well. I'm not sure. I didn't actually ask her in a playthrough, as I recall.
Q's kind of exempt.
Then I don't want to spoil anything for you, Tess.
Well, I mean, the series is over now, you might as well.
Then
Oh my god, is she the A cup?
No, she's B. No, C. I can't remember, it's been a while since I've watched...
HuniePop, Q, booby size.
You're actually Googling this?
Is that her correct size?
Is it a B or a C? I can't remember.
Now, I'm having sort of slightly what could be perceived as sexist thoughts insofar as with Q or Audrey, you could play their boobs like bongo drums, whereas Celeste and Venus, you could just sort of go in face first and then just get lost in the valley in between them.
C cup, by the way.
Day 45. I believe I just passed the areola for the second time.
Oh, Momo's a B. How did I forget about that?
Oh, yeah.
Why are we talking about this?
I can confirm that she does in fact only have 2 nipples.
As opposed to what?
Well, cats. Cats are supposed to have 8 for the litter.
Apart from Meredith back home, who has 9.
Very special.
The extra
special
one is
girl.
used to tune into Radio 2. I
Look.
don't know.
Let's just say that she never had a runt in the litter. Go on.
Well, this was beautiful. Do you have anything else of value to say?
There should be a lively planet, HuniePop.
Seconded.
Did I
I'd help
say
you.
anything worthwhile during this 45-minute video?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, probably.
You said more than me. And I'm
Mama has
supposed-
really nice legs. Okay, now I have officially said something.
That came right the fuck out of nowhere.
So does Q, mind you. Q actually has a really interesting stance in a lot of her artwork. Also ballet slippers. Never mind.
I will say, and I mentioned this in the LP as well, I do like Q's personality and her approach to relationships, where it's established that she'll sleep with any of her clients, but she's not depicted as traditionally slutty. But it's perfectly summarized in that one line that she has as one of her morning after lines. Thanks for the sex, homie. Like, it ain't no thang to her. It's just it's sex, and yeah, she still takes pleasure in it as sex, but she doesn't see it as this huge lifelong commitment sort of thing. And I think that's a nice idea.
She seems to be the advocate for open relationships as far as representation goes in this game. I like
Yeah.
that.
Or the friend with benefits approach. Either way.
Dating sim games almost never have representation of the perspective that dating doesn't need to happen, which is, I mean, I'm a big advocate of open relationships, and I'm therefore not entirely one to think of dating as the same kind of commitment as most people. So I'm really appreciative that one of the characters in this game happens to represent my viewpoint on that.
Well, the heart wants what it wants.
Please don't start singing.
I actually don't know the song, so...
Thanks for the sex, homie.
Are we done here?
Are we done here?
Actually, that does bring up a point. The way the game is structured, like, there is no avenue of possibility for rape at all whatsoever, and thus saying, if sex happens, it's consensual or it's not happening at all. And that's like a really, like, I feel like that wasn't intentionally their message, but it's kind of subtly conveyed, and the way they've done that is bravo.
It's just kind of the idea that despite the fact that your player character is kind of a manipulative individual by telling the girls what they want to hear rather than being honest and finding the best fit for him, at the end of the day, he is still a decent enough person, or she is a decent enough person, to not do anything that the girls don't want to do. And there's a very admirable amount of respect there, despite the general manipulation of telling the girls what they want to hear.
I mean, you can infer quite a bit on that front just from looking at the post-sex pictures. Now, I don't mean in a perfect way, but just if you're playing as a male character, just seeing where the semen ends up, kind of rather telling about, you know, what actually went on that evening. And, you know, clearly
I don't know
nothing
about you, but I just moved chips around and she moaned for a while.
Okay then.
I just got a full match of McDonald's fries.
And then her bra dematerialized. They somehow got panties in my inventory. I don't even know how they got there. What was she wearing when she left? Sorry.
That's one thing that I've always wondered. Like, how did they not know? Well, I mean, Q knows, as she reveals when you give her her underwear back. She reveals that she knows, but how do the other girls not know? Do they actually, Laura, vagina perspective, is this a thing that girls do? They just carry around a spare pair of underwear just in case they get laid and then have their underwear stolen?
You ask me as if I know from personal experience.
You're a woman, you've had sex.
Thank you for announcing that to the entire internet.
Hi, Mom.
What?
Well, the entire internet.
It might as well be at this point. Hello, if you're watching.
Did the girls' weights seem unrealistic to you? Like, every single girl was under 130, I'm pretty sure? Or something like that? Like, it was... Who was it that was like... I'm trying to lose... Was it Nikki who was like, I'm 112, but I'm trying to lose weight? It's like, I think that's a little unhealthily low, if I had to say.
I have no idea.
That was Lola you're thinking of, because Nikki is 104, I think. Yeah. And back to Tess's weird question about underwear. Me, personally, I do not carry a spare pair of underwear in case mine gets stolen. But then again, why would anyone want to steal my underwear anyway?
They need to give that along with 11 other sacrifices to the love goddess. Well, to Q, anyway.
You look inside a woman's purse. There's a little case in there. In case of sex, break glass.
In case of sex, break hymen. What?
Tess, that entire sentence about 11 sacrifices to the love goddess, you are making me seriously question my relationship right now. You're making it sound like Phil is playing this endless game of HuniePop.
Isn't that what all guys do? Shots fired. But
he keeps getting bells.
But
yeah, doesn't he know that my most thing is talent?
But for girls who only have one pair of underwear at a time, they just have like a little bungee cord installed, kind of like in the opening credits of Top Cat, where like the guy tries to take the underwear, gets out the door, and then boo, just snaps back into place. No?
We were going to be done eventually.
Did I say this video was only going to be 45 minutes? Wow.
Every time we do an analysis video, it gets progressively longer, because Anodyne was, half an hour? Was 40 minutes. This one's looking to be about 50, although it'll probably be less once I've edited.
Dread your next project.
It's over 9,000!
No, that'll be SA2. Anyway.
Yay!
Oh, we have many things to discuss, but are we outroing now?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
I'm dry now.
Well, okay then.
Those are not double Ds. I'm sorry, this wiki's very interesting.
I was then gonna say, how could you tell? Jeez. Might as well just throw everything out there now. Thanks, Tess.
Oh, that wasn't Tess's fault.
Well,
As far as I know.
Of course it was. I'm the god of calamity.
well, Tess announced my sex life to the entire internet. Why not throw in some other random facts?
Like, Russia has more surface area than Pluto? That's a random fact.
That's always been one of my favorite things. Pluto is also so small that it actually orbits its moon.
And its moon is just a bit smaller than Celeste's boobs.
Are you sure about that?
Just a bit?
This is why I said those are not double Ds. I'm really staring at that now. They intentionally designed those to be a bit larger than that.
And on that note, I've been Europezgal08.
I've been AustinOnSugar.
And I have been and will continue to be tessellating hexagons, and I should probably contact whoever sold me this friendship bra, because it's... my friends are now my nipples. They're lactating opinions all over my channel.
And that's why we all love bread.